Hello, YouTube. How's it going today? How was your day? What did you do this weekend? Did you get to relax at all? Did you run errands yesterday we relaxed. We didn't really do a whole lot, and today we my goodness, of course, the moment I click live. And today we ran a bunch of errands. I see I already have 4 people on here. So this is the first time that I've noticed my like it was so dark in this room today. And so do we think we want my $4 little ring light I got at the dollar store on like this, or do we want it off? Do we care? Do we have a preference? So this is it when it's kind of dark, and this is it on lightly. So let me know what you think, and it's also in the way of the comments. So I don't know. What do you guys think? You let me know. And look, lots of friends are here. Lori says I can't really tolerate Ray. That's okay. Feel free to pop out anytime if you need to. Marie, hello, Mr. Ranger Lab. Hi, Monica. Oh, a DC raid. That's so nice. Love that. Thank you, DC. I appreciate that so much. Hi, Chelsea. Crystal. Oh, hi, oh, DC raid. Woot. Yay. Hi, Neil. How's it going? I'm going to do an Amway video on Tuesday, Neil, if you want to join. Oh, on is better. You think on is better? On if it's okay for you. On is great, but oh yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I'm sorry. Maybe if I look up, you guys can't really see it. Okay, so a couple people said on. Reflection may be distracting. Yeah. That's fair. And also my glasses are dark. I could put on my normal glasses because my eyes aren't actually hurting today. Monica waved, hey, Monica. And Julie's here, yay! So many friends. I'll put on my other glasses and see if that will be better. It was so dark in this room today at 6:30 Mountain Time. Oh, it's still pretty obvious. I'll just put them back on. At 6:30 Mountain Time, it is pitch dark outside. Okay. Yay. Yay. Okay, let's keep going. Hi, Christina. Are those little mice? What is that? Or a bat? So today I'm excited to talk about a Ray Higdon video from a couple of months ago with a person named Brynn Lang, who is in Modere, and she is also an MLM coach. We did a Meet Brynn Lang video a long time ago on my channel, and she's a very, very interesting one, and she's one of the few MLM coaches who is currently still building in their MLM, who has a huge downline. And it's always interesting when they're in an MLM and they also have an MLM coaching business on the side, but this is not about the coaching. At Ray Higdon's what's it called? Faith Over Fear Business Summit. Brynn Lang did a whole talk on mom guilt, and that's what we're going to look at today. Well, not that exact talk. The talk that they just did a preamble on the channel. So I'm excited for this. Okay. Aw, thanks, Andy. That's nice. You had a green circle on your left eye. I found it very sci-fi. Oh my goodness, Anastasia. Enjoy Grey Cup. Amazing. I have a couple of friends who made the trip over to Hamilton. Amazing. Have a great time. And tell us about it tell us about it at the next stream you're at. I'd love to hear. I hate falling back. Getting dark earlier sucks. For sure. Yes, Amway on Tuesday, Neil. Ooh, it'll be so fun. I don't remember who it is, but it's actually a tangible business tip, surprisingly, which is pretty cool. Okay, I'm ready to start, and I hope you guys enjoy the video.
Hey, do you or someone you know struggle with mom guilt? Well, today I interview an absolute rock star. Not only is she a mom, but she also has $2 million businesses, and she shares exactly how to beat mom guilt. I truly believe that over.
How does Brynn have to? I'm just trying to move my light because it's blocking the chat. It's blocking the chat, and I'm trying to peek around. Oh, bye, Sam. Have a good night. Thank you for joining. I don't understand how she has two seven-figure businesses online. Was she? Oh, bye, eclectic Mima. Thank you. I appreciate it. Was she? Does she have like two Modere downlines? Does she build in another MLM, or are they talking about like does she or is it like her coaching MLM coaching business on the side that is like a multi-million-dollar business? I'm just curious about which like where her other business came from. So I'm not used to all the chat, all the comments, and I'm getting distracted. Yes, escape top chat purgatory. Thank you, DC. Wait, they may be chipmunks. Oh yeah, that I thought were bats or something. That's okay. Awesome. Oh no.
50% of your organization, no matter the size, they either struggle with self-sabotage because they feel bad about their family and business balance, or they have mom guilt. And if you help them with those two things, which are two of the topics, that's just two of the topics at our Faith Over Fear Business Summit, your team would absolutely explode, your check would explode, everything would explode. And because as long as you have mom guilt, as long as you have issues and sabotage around business and family, you're not going to become something you despise. You're not going to all of a sudden magically just push through it. You're going to keep yourself pushed down.
If we have mom guilt and issues with sabotage, we're not going to become something we despise. I don't really understand that. Like, is he saying we're not going if we have mom guilt, we're not going to experience like success in our MLM? Is that it? And I find this whole conversation really, really ironic because Brynn is going to tell us how to beat mom guilt when we are in an industry that is based on mom guilt, in my opinion. Because say you have a mother who wants to stay at home with her kids, right? And so she's sold the dream of starting an MLM so she can be present with her kids. And if she's thinking, oh, this isn't working for me, I'm not able to actually make money, I'm going to quit, or I'm not being very present with my children, I would like to quit, right? And they're going to come back and say, whoa, you're not going to be like, you can't be a stay-at-home mom if you're not doing Modere. You're not going to be a present mom without this business. And then they also feel the added guilt on top of that when you started your business to stay home with your kids, to be present with your kids, but every like soccer game or ballet practice you go to, you are constantly like worrying that you're not actually paying attention, you're not actually being present because you're always on your phone. So it's hilarious. And I see a couple comments like, why is he talking about mom guilt? Brynn's going to come on and talk about it. And he's going to mention in a second how it's ironic that he's like introducing this. And I know like parent guilt, dad guilt is a thing, of course, but we know that MLMs, they tend to target lots of new moms of young kids who are at home with their families, who either want to continue to be at home with their kids or who want to stay at home with their kids, or who are like worrying that they just went back to their office job and they're worrying about the time they're going to miss out with their kids. Yes, like the stream if you like it. Thank you, Lori. His wife is no better with her spider eyelashes. I've never seen her eyelashes. Good question, Signing Froggy. Good question. Ray knows all for sure. Would someone mind explaining mom guilt to me? I'm confused on exactly what that is, or at least in this context. Okay, thank you. That's a wonderful question. It's just when someone who's a mother, please feel free, a parent, feel free to explain this to me because I'm not a parent. But my understanding is if you feel like you're not being as present of a mother as you can, maybe you're worried you're making mistakes, you're not spending as much time with your kids. When you're spending time with your kids, you're not being as present and as engaged as you'd like. Maybe you missed out on important things. Maybe you're worrying about, like, you might be worried that you're not going to see your kid take their first steps because they're at daycare. It's that kind of thing, from what I understand, just like feeling guilty when you're away from your kids. That anyone who is a parent, a mother, feel free to jump in and explain that further. But thank you, Andy's Web, for the question. Yeah, not all mothers want to stay at home. and that's fine. It's wonderful if a mother wants to stay at home, and it's also great if they want to go and have a job outside of the home, of course. And also, there are other opportunities nowadays to work at home, at least part of your time at home, virtually, and still contribute to your family's income. Because, yes, post COVID, I have a lot of flexibility in where I decide to work. I do have an office space that I can go to when I want to, but it is extremely, extremely flexible. It's very flexible, and it's very common now that you can get completely remote or like part virtual jobs nowadays. Yeah, you don't need to be glued to them 24/7. MLM is not the solution. Exactly. I was confused on what that was, not a mom/woman, so I wasn't sure if I was understanding correctly. Yeah, thank you for asking, because that's what this whole video is about. So I'm glad you asked.
It's going to be a heavy weight on you. So let me know. Are you excited to learn about how to finally beat mom guilt? As speaker, I'm talking about it. You guys wouldn't even listen to me. You'd be like, yeah, whatever, dad guilt. There is no such thing, right? And we have some dad guilt sometimes, right? It's just not the same. Like I notice with my wife, it's like every day she starts at zero, right? It doesn't matter. She could have taken him to Disney World. She could have taken him to the moon. She could have taken him scuba diving the next day, right? And then the next day, it's like, oh my God, you're not a good mom, right? Like, so mom guilt is insane. It's a that kid attention literally never gets to a point where we're good, right? You got to be refilling that all the time, which leads to mom guilt as one of the symptoms. Okay, so my guest today is a networking and business building genius. From motherhood to millionaire status, she's been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine as the queen of balancing. She helps mompreneurs increase profits while decreasing mom guilt and burnout. Boom, mic drop. She is a master of efficiency, has not one, because two 7-figure online businesses that she's built in a few hours a day. Please help me welcome this rock star, Miss Brynn Lang. Brynn Lang, how are you?
And it's really funny how he spelled Brynn wrong, because do you see? Oh, you can't see it. Let me remove that comment. Yeah, Brin. I was like, crap, I spelled her name wrong. But look, she spells it Brynn, Lang, and that's funny. And it's interesting. She's touted as the head, the amazing balancer. She can balance it all, and we know that in MLM, you don't have the opportunity to balance it all. We've all seen MLM coaches or MLM distributors talk about how, why do you care about going to your kid's soccer practice? Like Julie Voris has said this. Why there's no such thing as balance. It's okay if you don't go to your kids' soccer practices. Just work your business, and then you can be with them as much as you want, right? But then people are recruited into Beachbody because they're told that they can go to their kids' soccer practice because it's important to them. They're told that they'll have the flexibility to do those things with their children, and it's a real bait and switch. Because yes, you'll have the flexibility to take your kid to dance practice, and then once you're in, you're guilted and shamed for questioning why you can't bring your kids to dance practice. Like I think Monica said, we don't need to be glued to our children 24/7, and I completely understand and agree with that. But for some people, taking their kids to dance or soccer is going to be extremely important to them, and if they're told they can be flexible with their business, then they should be able to go to soccer practice without being shamed for missing a team call. Because as parents, I'm not a parent, but parents get to decide what things are important to them and what things they feel like they can miss. But in MLM, I feel like they kind of make that decision for us. As a mom, I used to feel extreme guilt that I missed milestone moments because I was working. I worked 60 plus hours a week, and only saw my kids 2 to 3 hours a day. And I feel like an MLM preys on that, right? Oh, join Beachbody and you can just work full-time at home and be with your kids anytime you want. And then when you question why you can't be with your kids, then you're shamed and you're told you're lazy. I'm not sure about his ministry. I haven't been following him much recently, but if anyone knows, let us know. Hi, I'm doing PH Actress. I'm going to do an Amway stream on Tuesday if you want to hang out. I'd love it if you could, and watch the replay if you want to. Other side of that is being around a helicopter parent and kneecapping their kids' independence. Completely agree. Why wouldn't Jessica be teaching this? Good question. And now he's bullshitting. What is this MLM? Great question. they are not talking. Brynn is in Modere. Ray is an MLM coach, but Brynn on the side is also an MLM coach as well. So right now they're not. She's not speaking on behalf of Modere. She's just speaking on behalf of her brilliance in developing and expanding her business. All right, let's go.
Welcome.
When you say it, I'm like, my head is like getting big. Like, I can always, don't talk about my mom. She won't be able to walk through the doorway.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Super excited. So was I accurate in saying that, you probably had some breakdowns before you were able to get past your mom guilt and help others get past mom guilt? Or give us the story there.
Yeah. I truly believe that our stories are what impact people the most. And
I forgot to say too, I think he's also insinuating that we are not finding any success in our MLM. We're not making money because we have mom guilt, because we're sabotaging. But the whole reason we have this mom guilt in the first place is because we're in an MLM where every move as a parent is being critiqued and we're being questioned based on how we want to spend our time. Oh, why can't you miss your 1 hour TV show with your kid to do our video chat instead? It's like, but what if it's an important time to bond with my child while we watch this show once a week? But MLMs make those decisions, those parenting decisions for us. They say MLM is perfect because they say you will have time and freedom to be able to go to soccer games. Yes, but then you're scolded if you miss a Zoom call. Exactly. What about time freedom? They sell you on BS, and when you join, everything you were promised a false. Oh, what you were promised is false. Exactly. Sorry, I misread that. I completely agree.
I've told you this a million times and I always bring it up, but this for me was really how I became so inspired by you, Ray, right? By you being so vulnerable and authentic in your story about the things that you went through as a child, that inspired me to be out loud and bold about the things that, I've been through. But when it comes to the mom guilt specifically, by the way, hi guys, I'm Brynn. Nice to see you here. So excited. Thank you for having me, Ray. So yeah, I actually, I got started as an entrepreneur in the network marketing industry back in 2014. And I then had a 5-year-old that I was dragging with me in and out of the gym all day long. My husband and I actually owned restaurants. At that point, we had one. So he was always working constantly. I mean, anybody who tells you that owning a brick and mortar business is easy, they're blowing smoke straight up your butt. Okay. Like it was hard. I was a full-time personal trainer. I worked from like 5 a.m. to like 8 p.m. My kid constantly complained about me dragging him in and out and in and out and in and out. And
I noticed my connection is bad. I'm going to take myself off the camera for a bit, and hopefully that improves. We talked about this a lot on my channel. I don't understand why there's such a focus on telling our personal story when we're in an MLM. I feel like in any average employment environment, we will never be told to talk about our financial challenges. We will never be told to talk about like our struggles with our children, with our employment. And why do we need to go into such detail when we are at work? Why did Ray share his vulnerability? Why has Brynn been open and vulnerable about what she's gone through? It's because, yes, Julie just said trauma dumping on tap. We have to talk about our challenges, whether or not they are exaggerated, to make ourselves seem more relatable. Because if we were able to find success with all the horrible things we've been through, with how we were not very well off financially, with our challenges with our brick and mortar business, and we were able to make $1 million a year with our MLM, then you can do it too. It's just to make us seem more relatable, and it's also to make us seem like it's also to make other people look at us and feel like if they join our team, then they're around people who understand them, who've been through similar traumas, and where they can find a community. And I don't like it. I'm sure you've had a few breakdowns. Okay, dude, that came off so wrong. How do you know that or assume all women would have a breakdown over this? So rude. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, and I did catch that before. Oh, yeah, Ray bothers me. And I used to cover him more on this channel. Before I did streams all the time, I used to talk about him a lot. And I tried to get away from him a little bit just because I find myself getting frustrated and I don't want to say things that are like not productive or that aren't focused on what the purpose of my channel is, to like educate and educate on like different areas of MLM. And like this is supposed to be like on mom guilt, not on Ray, but I find it hard. I do find it hard sometimes with Ray. So I don't cover him as much.
I actually had a friend of mine share with me that he could buy socks without checking his bank account. And I was like, ooh, I gotta check my bank account to do just about everything. In fact, I had been standing in Target staring at a pair of shoes for my kid just a week before, asking myself if I could make them stretch another week. Like it was hard, right? And so I joined the network marketing industry, and I was, I sucked really bad at first. We all start at suck. I like to say that. You gotta suck until you suck less. And very quickly, I actually started to see a vision of maybe, possibly being able to have some freedom for my family, right? Because we're just running and running and running and running and running. And I felt terrible as a mother because I felt like I could never actually spend time with my kid because I had to work so hard in order to make ends meet. And so I saw the vision of network marketing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could do this. Maybe I can own my own time, right? And 4 years in, I'm working 10 times harder than I was working in my full-time job. I was on the phone or on Zooms literally all day long. I was traveling every weekend. And that vision of that freedom that I had pictured for my family was just like a far off dream. And
interesting. She said that her friend told her that he could buy socks without checking his bank account. And then coincidentally, she was standing there in Target staring at a pair of shoes. I have my camera off because my connection is bad. Staring at a pair of shoes for her kid, wondering if she can delay buying them. And I just wonder how much of this story is actually true. I'm not negating the fact that she may have gone through financial hardship. She may have wondered how she's going to buy shoes for her children. But I wonder, anyone who's been in an MLM, can you let me know if this is true? Do you think people are taught to exaggerate certain parts of the story to make themselves seem like they are more worse off than they actually are? I wonder if she actually stood in Target staring at a pair of shoes, or I wonder if she actually like stood in a different store and stared at a different piece of clothing, or if she was under financial stress, but just not to that point. But it's very relatable to say that she couldn't afford a pair of shoes because everyone, I said this before on this channel, everyone at some point has experienced financial instability to varying degrees, and saying that she couldn't afford a pair of shoes. And you compare that to where she is now with apparently $2 million online businesses. The transformation is very stark. It's very obvious. And it's very desirable, right? Because who wouldn't want to go from struggling to buy shoes to making $1 million a year, right? You may be there in your home, but you're not actually present. My sister works 9 to 5, but when she clocks out, she's home with her family, actually present. Exactly. My only mom guilt was over that. Okay, my only mom guilt was over that they only got to spend time with me. Sorry, I can't read that, but I understand. Your only mom guilt was that they only ever got to spend time with you. Got you, Julie. Oh, Sherry's here. Hey, Sherry. How's it going? I would believe that they would exaggerate they may exaggerate the sob story. I would not put it past them. Exactly. I'm just going to keep my camera off for a bit longer because my internet's being annoying.
Everything really came to a head for me at 4 years in when my kid told me that he didn't think
Okay, I should not have paused it there because I had another thing to say. Let me go back. And it's interesting how for 4 years, she was going to every Zoom call. She was traveling so much, didn't have any time to spend with her kid. She was like working nonstop. And it's interesting, 4 years in, she still did not have financial freedom. How long does it take? She worked constantly for 4 years and still did not have control over her time. And yet, I bet you she sits there and tells her people, part of her Modere downline, just keep pushing, just keep working a little bit longer, and then you can find the life of your dreams, while she did not find it 4 years in. That's interesting. The most valuable lesson I learned about being a parent is that good enough is good enough. Yeah, you won't always be perfect at it, so be good enough and try your best. I love that, Jolene. Great point. Okay, got you. I don't drive, so I felt that my kids were limited by my own creativity. Aw. And that kind of thing would be preyed upon in an MLM, right? Oh, you can sign your kids up for more activities. You'll have extra money. Oh, both mom and child need some space. It can become not healthy when both are on top of each other all the time. Yep. So weird. I keep getting Ray Higdon reels on my Facebook. I never click on them, but I keep getting them. They know you're watching Ray Higdon anti-MLM streams.
Far off dream. And everything really came to a head for me at 4 years in when my kid told me that he didn't think I loved him anymore because I was always on the phone and I never paid attention to him. And to hear that from your, at that point he was, almost 9. To hear that from your kid has to be the biggest gut punch I've ever experienced. And at that point, I almost quit network marketing because I'm like, this is crap, man. I can't do this. It's not worth my family. It's not worth my kid. Yeah. But I had the realization that I was not quite employable. And I didn't want to go back to, a full-time job. So I had to figure out how to learn how to balance. And I had to learn how to take that guilt that us moms feel, right? Raise your hand in the comment box if you've ever felt that while building your business. When you've had to take that 3-way call, or you've had to travel to that event, or you've had to be on Zooms at night. And don't get me wrong, you're going to have to hustle. If you want to build a business, you're going to have to hustle. But figuring out how to do it in a way where you're not sacrificing what matters to you most can really, really go a long way in eliminating that mom guilt.
4 years in, when her kid was about 9 years old, he said, I feel like you don't love me anymore. And it was just a huge gut punch. And she was wondering whether she should quit network marketing because it's not worth sacrificing her family. I wonder what her upline must have said when she told her that, or told him or her that, because that's pretty major. I feel like if your kid tells you that, I feel like most parents would be extremely upset, would wonder like what they could be doing wrong, where they are experiencing like a shortcoming as a parent. And I feel like if this is true, if this is a true story, I feel like her upline would have definitely manipulated her into saying, oh, I know that you are not spending as much time with your kid now, but just stick it out a little bit longer. Just prioritize your time, prioritize what's important to you, and you can build the business of your dream while also being a present parent for your kid. If this is true, I just can't imagine. And we've heard stories from viewers on my channel about how Amway, how other MLMs have gotten in the way of relationships with their parents, with their best friends. And it's just so sad to hear potentially, if this is true, that an MLM potentially could have really, really hurt the relationship that she had with her child. All right. I felt the worst when my child was sick and I couldn't get off work, so I had to make a pallet on my office floor for her. I couldn't imagine that being our everyday. Aw, that's sad. I'm sorry, Jolene. Yeah, this is very relatable, right? Because I feel like 99.9% of parents will have missed out on something important with their kids in some way. And like Jolene feeling bad that she couldn't she couldn't just be off work when her child was sick, or you miss out on your kid's dance recital because you couldn't get off work, or you don't get to do your activity one Saturday afternoon with your kids because you have to go into work. I feel like every parent has experienced that, and I think it could be potentially really intriguing to hear, oh, this magical, amazing solution will make it so I never miss an important moment with my kids ever again. But then, like I said, 1,000,000 times on this channel, you're told one thing to get you in the door. And then the moment you're in the door, you're shamed for the decisions you make as a parent. You're shamed for wanting to be present and for not working your business 100% of your day. Jolene, my husband did that once with our daughter too. Aw. Join me in hitting the like button. Thank you, Sherry. That's so nice. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, kudos to you for taking the gut punch and changing from that. You know, like some people, you know, would take that and just be like, you're just being dramatic or whatever. And, you know, if you understand, I mean, kids draw a lot of conclusions early on that are very difficult to change later on. And so good for you for, you know, for recognizing that. And, you know, something that, you know, I talk about all the time is the times where you're really challenged, if you can just see them as revelations, right? It's a revealing of something you got to work on, either your reaction to it or how you're showing up or whatever. Don't just take it as, that really sucked, you know, like take it as, maybe I got to change, which is exactly, you know, what you did. And so what did you do? He says, I don't think you love me, gut punch. What, what did you do? What did you change? What are some of the, you know, systems or whatever that you implemented?
I understand what he's saying, but I also disagree with it at the same time. I'm not a parent, so I don't know how I would react to this, but we can't just sit in our feelings and wallow for weeks if our child says something like that to us. We have to analyze what we're doing. We have to see if we're like missing out on things that are important to them, or if we can improve or spend more time with them or be a bit more present with them if we can. I understand that. But if we were to actually analyze and use this situation as an opportunity to improve as a parent, if we're in an MLM, we would quickly realize that the MLM is the cause of our struggle, of my struggles as a parent. Because if I wasn't in an MLM, chances are I would have an average employment arrangement where I could go to work for an allotted time period and then come home and have very limited responsibilities at home in my job, because I understand you can't always completely clock out of every single job. Sometimes you have to bring things home with you, but it's not the same as an MLM where your video calls, your Zooms, or your like conference calls are not like they're not required to be at night, right? They're not always going to be scheduled every Tuesday at 9 p.m. right in the middle of your kid's bedtime routine. So once a week, you're missing out on time with your child. And I could imagine if it's important to you to be present during your child's bedtime routine, that could start to weigh on you mentally, that you're missing out on 4 nights with them every single month because of your MLM. Well, even if you're in an average employment environment where you had to bring some work home with you, you could prioritize being available at 9 p.m. so you could hang out with your kid and put them to bed. Does that make sense? I am being very blabby today. Oh, it's okay. I just can't imagine that, because I live in a country where sick leave for sick kids is a right and you get paid. I think it's not like sick leave for your kids. I think you could just take sick time. In some places, you get like unlimited time for appointments and stuff. So you could do that. Or if your kid is like quite sick, you could apply for extended leave and get paid. My sister had participated in her daughter's activities as much as she can. Yeah, it's understandable that she's going to miss some. It's okay. You do the best you can. I think if a child sees that their parent is trying, and when they're not at the events or the soccer games, they're showing interest and talking about, like asking them questions and saying, congratulations, you did so well, and just showing interest. Showing interest can be enough. And as long as you communicate with your kid, hey, I can't come tonight because of work, but I'll be there tomorrow, it's fine. It's fine. They have a very healthy and loving relationship, and the dad is equally important. Exactly. Yeah, why aren't they talking about dad guilt? Because in MLMs, they target mothers, unfortunately. I had sick leave available, but it's mostly in theory since being absent required too much planning around it. I had 6 weeks of paid sick leave built up when I left. Gotcha. In my case, I had a final exam, and missing it for any reason was an automatic fail, but most likely being put on probation in the professional school I was in. That's fair. That is fair. The U.S. has Family Medical Leave Act, but unpaid. Ugh, that's terrible. I can't stand that it's unpaid. They do like to ignore that part, don't they? That fathers are part of the big picture. Exactly. I'm struggling with reading these today. I'd have to double check, but pretty sure my mom got PTO for the first week at least when my brother was in ICU. Oh, no, Peter, I'm sorry to hear that. That's terrible. And they didn't use her vacation days. Okay. And I'm sorry that happened, but I'm glad she was able to use some paid time off for that, for sure. Yeah, and no talk about dads because, yeah, it always seems to be focused on mothers and guilting mothers for the decisions they make. You can't put your kid in daycare because then you're not raising them yourselves. Even though, like Monica has said on this channel before, you can still be present from 5 until bedtime and actually be there engaging with your kids. You don't need to be with them 24/7 to be a good parent. And it's actually quite healthy to have space sometimes for the child and the parent.
Yeah, well, first I cried.
Yeah, yeah.
I cried. I found myself in my closet with some Ben and Jerry's and a bottle of wine. I will tell you, vanilla ice cream and Cabernet work really well together. I wouldn't have experienced that otherwise. But you know, I really at first I felt bad for myself. I got, you know, I really got inward, and like I said, I almost quit. But I realized that, you know, it's this twofold thing, right? Like we want so much to spend all this time with our children and to pour into our children and give them the very best of us, but it's also our job to show them what they're capable of, to show them what it looks like to work hard and to build something. You know, I really believe that. And so after praying a lot about it and realizing that I didn't want to quit, I started asking myself, what are some ways that I can show him that he's my number one and he will always be my number one, but also show him how important it is for me to have this and to be more than just a mom, and to show him what he's capable of if he decided, you know, later on in life that he wanted to build something. And so the first thing that I did is
she wants to show him that he can build something too, and that since she wants to be more than just a mom, that she's being an entrepreneur and being a good role model for him. And I think that if someone wants to be a stay-at-home mother, stay-at-home parent, and they are not interested in like doing it, working for pay, they're not interested in working at home or outside of the home, you can still be a good role model for your child. You can be a good role model in the way you treat other people, in the way you talk to your spouse, in the way you are a friend or a family member. You don't need to be in an MLM if you're a stay-at-home mother in order to be a good role model for your child. You also do not need to be an entrepreneur in an MLM or otherwise to be a good role model. In an Amway stream, we heard that, I don't remember which one, but a person was talking about how because he's in Amway, his child knows what it means to work hard and to work towards achieving a goal, but you don't need to be in an MLM to do that. You don't need to have a job to do that. You just need to be a paid job. Sorry, like not being a parent, not like a job outside of the home. You don't need to have a paid job outside of the home to do that. You just need to try your best to be a good person, treat them and other people with respect and kindness, and you can be a good role model. I feel like I said the same thing in like 12 different ways. I'm sorry. He turned 40 this year. The accident was when he was 13. He lost his spleen, but it's more mental trauma. Aw. Yeah, that's terrible. I'm sorry. In Sweden, it's really acceptable for everyone to be off for sick kids. I think the limit is 180 days a year, and the workplace just adjusts. And this is both men and women who do this. Fantastic, because fathers also want to stay at home with their sick children, and they shouldn't have to jump through hoops to do that. I love that. That's great. My daughter's dad had sick childcare at his work in a hospital. Pretty sure no MLMs offer that either. Jillian, do you mean childcare for sick kids? If that's so, that's super interesting, and I've never heard of that before. And it's just not for really sick kids, even a little fever or snotty. Oh, good. That's good. Because, yeah, if you have a 6-year-old and they're sick, you can't leave them at home by themselves. And if you don't have the ability to work virtually, then you have to take time off work, and that could be a struggle.
I had to have the realization and the awareness of what were the things that mattered to me most. I didn't really ever ask myself. I was always just blowing and going, right? That's what a lot of us do. I'm like constantly on my phone and I'm trying to, you know, send messages and invite people to Zooms and post on social media and, make videos and then also do the laundry and clean the house and make sure that my kid got to his sports and all these things. And it's like, oh, by the end of the day, if I'm like not smoking crack, I'm feeling pretty good about myself, right? That's how most of us moms feel. And so I had to start asking myself, like, what really is important to me? Because how many of you struggle with saying no? That was a big thing for me, right? Like I never said no. I never said no to the people on my team. I bent over backwards. If I got a message from somebody, it went 5 minutes without me messaging them. I was freaking out. Like, am I going to lose this prospect or am I going to lose this team member? Right. Like, and so I asked myself, what really matters to me? And when I boiled it down,
it's interesting that she's talking about overcoming mom guilt, but the very industry she was in was what was fueling it, because her child said, oh, I'm not sure if you still love me anymore, because she was constantly on the phone, Zoom calls, prospect calls. She was so anxious that she couldn't go 5 minutes without responding to a text message. I wonder, if she was not in the MLM, would she have experienced mom guilt to this extent? I know parents are going to experience guilt no matter what, because you are responsible for raising an entire human being. And I could imagine there'd be a lot of inner turmoil, wondering if you're making the right decisions, if you talk to them in like the correct tone, if you upset them by accident, if you're being supportive enough. So I know parent guilt is unfortunately a part of life for parents. In my opinion, tell me if you think I am incorrect, but I wonder if it would have been this severe if she wasn't in her MLM. I would probably say it would not be as severe. So you have a solution, Brynn, for a problem that your industry worsened for you. They seem to think that, yes, physical availability is the only part that matters. I am sitting beside my kid, so that's fine. But are you actually engaged in what they're doing? And I know a parent is not always going to constantly be sitting beside their kid playing with Barbies or cars or trucks all the time. But when you have the mental capacity, when you have the time to sit there and engage with your kids, if you weren't in an MLM, could you do that in your MLM job with your MLM? Probably not. If you have the capacity, the mental capacity to play with your kid, you're probably on your phone working, unfortunately. I wonder if her brain would explode if she encountered someone who actually loves their 9 to 5 and has no desire to be a salesperson. Okay. Most likely my favorite part of work was being able to leave it at work. Exactly. It's amazing. It's the best. Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what my parents have said to me before. Like they always felt guilty, always wondering if they're doing a good enough job. But then you have people in an MLM sit there telling you like, oh, if you don't continue working, you are not going to be a good parent. You told me when you joined that you want to be as present as you can be. So you need to continue working your business and taking time away from your kids with no guarantee of financial payout.
Things that really, really mattered to me in my life were my faith, my family, my health, and my business. And so I started like really becoming aware of where I was spending a lot of my time. And I made a decision in that moment that I was not going to do anything in my life or in my business that didn't feed me in those 4 areas. And it started to become a lot easier to say no to things that weren't that important, because write this down. When you say yes to everything, you will say no to the things that matter to you most. Amen. Right. And a lot of us as leaders, especially, like I found myself, I had a 6-figure business. I found myself in a position where like they ruled my life.
Yeah.
I did everything for them. In fact, one of my leaders even told me, I asked her, I said, why don't you ever host the calls? Or why don't you ever host the Zoom? She said, why would I? I know that you're going to do it. And so like I started having all this awareness of all the ways that I could start change, like actually creating business hours for myself, actually like putting into my schedule the quality time that I wanted to have with my husband and the quality time that I wanted to have with my kid. Right. And slowly I started implementing some of these things, and things changed, pretty quickly for me.
You were able to implement office hours and say no to things and not answer phone calls right away. at least 4 years in when you likely had a significant downline underneath you. But someone just joining you now, Brynn, would they actually have the opportunity to have strict business hours where you will not bother them, you will not expect them to be on a Zoom call, you will not guilt them for not joining the Zoom call? If someone said, hey, Brynn, my business hours are from 6 until 8 a.m. and then from 5 until 7 p.m. and nothing else. Are you actually going to change your Zoom call time until 6 to 7 instead of 8 to 9 to accommodate that? My guess is probably not. You're saying these things that you did when you were already like significantly into your business. You likely had a large downline, and you were in a privileged position that the majority of people in an MLM would not have been able to do, right? It's one thing for someone to say this when they're at the top of the company, but if I joined now, would you also afford me the privilege of having business hours and turning off my phone during certain times of day? Probably not. Parent guilt is worse for us as we've got 2 college-age kids not in college, so next year we'll have 3 in college. Aw, where did we fail to instill self-motivation? Okay, so you've got 2 college-age kids not in college. And so next year you'll have 3 in college. Wow, 3 in college at the same time. Whoa, good for them. Congratulations to them. I'm unemployed just now, but my usual 9 to 5 has some parts that I take home, but my paycheck mirrors that responsibility. Yes, true. And my point earlier with that was just if you have to take things home with your job, it's not automatically like those aren't the only hours that you're working. Because I feel like in MLM, all of the calls are always going to be in the evening, unfortunately. And if you're taking things home, you can put your work down for an hour, just hang out with your kids at dinner, and then say they're like relaxing and watching a movie. And then you can pick your work back up and finish it up. And you can make it if you wanted. If possible, you could make it so you could put your children to bed at the end of the night. But in an MLM, I feel like we don't really have control over that. And she's saying we can still put in business hours, but in practice, we know that's not the case. Sorry, where's my mouse? Self-motivation is hard in today's world. I feel that finding your place now is harder than ever. Yeah. And it was hard for me to find my place in life as a young adult as well. Exactly, Julie. That's my point. No.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I was on this topic. I was talking with one of our other speakers, Tyler Watson, who's just incredible, amazing. And he was telling me, every week he has a mentoring session with each of his kids, and they go over, where might they need help, where's some ways of improvement, what's a game they want to play, and then what's a mentoring treat, right? And so does that, every week, and I just think that's so important. Awesome. And you do have to schedule it. I know I have to schedule it because if John Maxwell says this, our keynote speaker, he says that business has a way of filling every crevice of time in your calendar. Sure and I could. I mean, if it wasn't seriously, if it wasn't for my wife, like, hey, you need to take time off. Like I was, it'd be Thursday, and I'd be like, I've been working the whole time. And
so this Tyler Watson friend has a mentoring hour with his kids and gives them a mentoring treat. That's really strange to me. In my brain, I could imagine say like, hey, child, how's it going? How was your week? Anything happened today that made you happy? Anything happened that upset you? Is there anything that you need help with? Anything that I can do for you? And it's just, in my opinion, it's just strange to call it like a mentoring hour and then you get a mentoring treat. Why would it be a mentoring treat? Why can't we just like do something with them that we know they'll enjoy that will make them happy? Like, oh, your kid loves to watch hockey, right? And so once a week, you make sure you have the time and the ability to sit there uninterrupted and watch the entire hockey game of your kid's choice with them. or you take them out for their favorite ice cream or something. Why are we calling it a mentoring treat? That sounds a little weird. Yes, exactly. Like if it's not homework or something, like it could be you're helping them with their homework. They're struggling with math or science. And yes, that's going to suck. But that's not really a time for bonding with your kid. That's a time for making sure they do their homework. So is this mentoring treat like a bonding experience, or is it helping them with their homework? It sounds a little strange. Next year, the high school junior graduates high school early. Whoa. She better get scholarships to make up for the OM money we didn't make. That's really cool that she's graduating early. Very, very impressive. It's sad to see when posts from hospitals or in cars instead of actually watching the soccer games. That is not getting your own schedule. Exactly. You should give her the money you didn't lose in the MLM. Oh, love that. That's funny. I'm mentoring out. Yes. Yes. Why can't you just say, I schedule an hour each day if you can, or an hour each week, or whatever. Like, I schedule the time that I have available with my kid to have uninterrupted, engaged time where I'm just focused on what will make them happy and helping them through their issues. Because I do understand if we're busy, if we work a lot, if we have other kids that we need to take care of or other responsibilities, I understand the idea of scheduling time to just go sit with your kid and chat. I think that's a very interesting idea if you are under a lot of pressure time-wise. But it's strange that we're calling it a mentoring hour, in my opinion. Mr. Ranger Lab said the kids are the family downline, right?
And so you do need to, to schedule those times. And the other thing too is, a lot of times I get your take on this. I mean, you've kind of talked about it already, but a lot of times you'll hear someone say, well, it's all about the kids, right? I'm going to sacrifice my dreams and goals and hopes and everything that I want in my life.
Why becomes your excuse?
I'm just going to give it to the kids. But what you don't understand exactly.
It's your excuse. But it's our business. So if we just want to sacrifice like maybe our own comfort or our sleep or our time because we want to just be a parent 100% and we still want to work our business, then it's not an excuse. That's our decision. We get to decide how we want to parent, and we should still be able to make money and do our business the way we want because it's our business. Right? It doesn't matter if we want to be a parent 100% of the time, or if we want to work part-time, we want to put our kid in daycare, we don't want to put our kid in daycare, we want to go to all the soccer games or we don't. It doesn't matter. It's our decision as the parent, and it's not on Brynn to tell us that that's our excuse. That's just an excuse for not wanting to work our business. I don't like that. Let me parent the way we want to parent. Yes, it's an excuse that we just want to sacrifice everything for our kids. We're being too present. We're being too good of a parent, which is why we are not willing to spend all of our time on MLM Zoom calls. So it's our fault.
Network marketing is you're modeling, right? So you're setting a model of this is what a parent looks like. So you're literally sabotaging them from them ever reaching their dreams, hopes, goals, etc. So if you're that I do everything leader, people will either not ever reach your status because they're like, why would they? You got it. Or they're like, I don't want to do that. And so talk to us a little bit about that. How do you help when you, because I'm sure you hear it, how do you help a mom that says to you with pride that I sacrifice all I ever wanted for my kids? What do you say to that?
Yeah. So, number one, we're all allowed to have different dreams and different goals. And there's nothing wrong for that mom that just wants nothing more than to be a mom. I have friends like that. That is their life. They're obsessed with it and it makes them so happy and it fills them with so much joy. But there are so many of us women out there too, that we want to be more than just moms. And we don't want to feel guilty for wanting more than just to be a mom. It's not that we can't be a great mom and want something more at the same time. And so, it's all about having really personalized conversations with people. And I feel like in this day and age of social media, we've really lost this personal touch.
It's interesting that she's saying we should be able to want more than being a mom without feeling guilt. But then Ray was, in my opinion, is kind of mimicking or talking down on those who are willing to sacrifice everything and who just want to be a fully engaged 100% parent and not worry about anything else, right? And why are we talking down on people who are just wanting to sacrifice and focus on being a parent? I think it's because those people are not likely to stay in the. I was going to say those people are not likely to stay in an MLM for very long because they would quickly realize that it's taking time away from their kids. But I kind of take that back because I think people who want to sacrifice and be there for their children, they may stay in longer because that desire is going to be preyed upon, and MLM is going to be portrayed as the answer to that and the only way that they can be the parent that they want to be. Oh, I'm sorry. We lost our college friends to a franchise opportunity, so not falling prey to MLMs wasn't the only risk. I'm sorry to hear that, Julie. That sucks.
Number one, with our family members, but number two, even with our team members, right? Like, it's so easy to just tag somebody in something and, hey, go watch this, which there's nothing wrong with that. We want to use tools. But I found that both with my spouse, with my kid, and with my team members, having personalized conversations about what they really, truly want can go a long way. I know that most people don't ask their children what they need from you. When I ask my kid that, like, what do you need from me? Like, when would you like me to be available for you? Like, what time of day is great for you to where we can sit down, and whether it's playing Legos or now he's 14, he can show me the 1,000 Tyler, the Creator songs that he's obsessed with right now, right? Like, I hate Tyler, the Creator. Oh my gosh. But I listen because that's what he needs from me. That's what he needs from me. That's what he's excited about, and that's what he wants to show me.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with your teammates, right? If I had a mom come to me, she's like, I'm just going to sacrifice everything for my family, right? Like, what if I just dug in with her and I asked her, okay, that's awesome. I love that you want to be a mom, but you did join this business for a reason. Yeah. So what was that reason in the first place? What was it that had you pressing that button to where you wanted something a little bit more, whether it was extra income, whether it was more freedom? Maybe it's not having to say no to your kids, when it comes to doing that extra sport or taking them on vacation. I think that the key.
I don't like the idea that she's comparing how we schedule time to hang out with our kids to how we communicate with our team members in our MLM. Again, I think it's a good idea to schedule time with your kids to do things that they enjoy if you're really busy and if you have a lot going on. But you can just show interest in what your kids are interested in day to day when you cross paths with them at breakfast. Hey, what song did you listen to last night? Hey, what's going on today? Hey, are you seeing your friends later? It doesn't have to be this big production. And it's strange how we're comparing that. We're saying I have really personalized conversations with my son, just like I do with my teammates. And our parenting, in my opinion, our parenting and our work, in my opinion, should be separate. We should not be talking to our team the same way we talk, or in the same manner that we talk to our child. And like I kind of talked in a circle a little bit earlier there, for those who want to sacrifice to be a parent, she's going to come back and say, well, why did you join in the first place? You joined because you want to improve something in your child's life. You just don't want to say no to them. You want to have money to put them in the sport that they want to go in or into the art class that they're excited about. And if you stop in this business, you are not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to be the parent that you want to be. And that's just so sad. And I'm glad I corrected myself there when I was like, people like that may not last long in an MLM. And then I'm like, wait a second, no, because it's the people who want to sacrifice for their kids is one of the main people that they prey on, because they're getting to the root of why they joined in the first place. They're trying to really understand where they want to improve as a parent and preying on that to keep them in their MLM for longer. After I look at the comments, I'm going to do my eye drops because it's time. Yes. What was sad? Oh, yes. Marie, were you talking about what Julie said? If so, I agree. Very sad. And I'm sorry to hear that, Julie. Hello, Julie M. Happy Sunday to you. Oh, So schedule time with your kids is not a free and happy thing in my mind, for sure. But I understand why people may need to do it, right? Because you just could have so many things going on that like it may slip your mind and you may like forget if you have several other children or a bunch of jobs. So I understand, but I also see where you're coming from. She's babbling but not really offering any actual advice. I would not take her advice though. I prefer actual professional advice. Exactly. The whole legacy thing in MLM just drive me nuts. Step grandma was lifelong Avon and thought her collectibles were her retirement fund. Oh, that's sad. That's sad. You reminded me to take my eye drops. Yay, Sherry. Yeah, I'm gonna do that now. So I'm gonna take myself off the screen, let it play for a minute, and I'll do it. Where's my mouse?
To it all is really having those personalized conversations with people, because if you can actually like have eye-to-eye contact with them and really dig down into what it is that they want, right, it's so much easier for them to, on the leader side, overcome that guilt, right, and realize why they're really doing it. And when it comes to your family, having them feel fulfilled and joy in your relationship with them, and then being okay with you also doing that thing for yourself.
Yeah. Amen. I just think this is such a needed, topic, and you're the best I've ever seen talking about it. And so I was just honored to ask you to speak at our event in September in Orlando. It's going to be incredible. I know you're going to dive deeper on this topic, give some, steps, processes, systems, policies, et cetera. We're in this ever since COVID. A lot of people are, preferring virtual. Like for you, like I'm in an interesting situation, and then I speak at a live event, like usually twice a month. I'm at a company event or team event or something like that. So I see the atmosphere, I see the energy in the room. And people saying, "Oh my God, I missed this," if they haven't, been going to them. But why for you is it important to?
So Monica asked Julie's collectibles house. So how did she think that was her retirement? Do you maybe mean the like recognition symbols or like the pretty plaques? Yeah, what do you mean? I thought I understood, but maybe I'm also confused too. And they're talking about how important it is to get in the room at these MLM events because that's where the real value is. However, we know it's important to get into the rooms because it will draw on your emotions. It will make you see the vision. You'll see people making $1 million a year and think you can do it too. You'll think it's attainable. You'll see yourself in the people on stage, and you may not get that level of buy-in, that level of excitement if you're just at a virtual event.
To get in the room of an actual event.
Yeah, I was talking about this with one of my friends the other day, and I feel like, although COVID was a terrible pandemic, I think the worst one is loneliness. I feel like we as humans have been put into this space where we are disconnected. We live our lives online. We live our lives virtually, even with our teams, and I think one of the most powerful things that we have is human connection. And it's just not the same as it is in person. And, even kind of going down another rabbit hole. I mean, think about all this. And I'm obsessed with AI and ChatGPT. And these things are some of the ways that I, am so efficient, right? And that I can spend more time with my family. But think about the world that we're living in right now, right? Look at all these AI photos popping up everywhere. Look at all the deep fakes and the CGI and all this stuff. Like, it's going to come to a point where people aren't even going to know who the real person is.
Yeah. They'll just be wearing goggles and,
While COVID-19 was a terrible pandemic, the worst pandemic is loneliness. During COVID, people obviously experienced severe physical health challenges. People got sick, and people obviously were let off from employment. People were going through a significant mental and physical turmoil. And of course, when we were all told to isolate at home, we were told to have only 2 people in our personal bubble. There was nothing open. We couldn't do anything other than sit in our homes and walk outside pretty much. People experienced very severe loneliness. We know that mental health struggles increased rapidly across the world during COVID. And I hate the idea of that. I hate the idea that MLM conventions can be the cure to the loneliness or to the mental health struggles that you may or may not have developed during COVID-19. And it's just preying on people who need human connection, right? And during some of our Amway streams, we've talked about how manipulative it was when Rich DeVos would say, "We love you, you're a part of the Amway family," because what if people don't hear, "I love you" much? What if they hear Rich DeVos say that to them in a huge auditorium full of people and they think he actually mean it, they think he means it, and they think they actually have a true, deep, meaningful connection with Rich DeVos? What if people go to Ray Higdon's Faith Over Fear event and they hear him say lovely, amazing things about the people in the audience and think that they actually have a real connection with him, that they're actually his friend? But my question is, would he be your friend? Would he be nice to you if you left his faith over fear bullshit? You left his inner circle rank makers and you did not give him money anymore? No, because relationships and connections in an MLM are monetary. And if you leave, you do not have that genuine human connection with someone. Avon was supposed to be worth a lot as unique collectibles in the 50s and 80s. And basically, until the internet, people only knew what they were told. The decanters and such were supposed to be rare. Grandma died in poverty with her precious Avon items going for a few cents a piece. Okay, I understand. So maybe you mean like the more vintage Avon pieces were said that they were going to be a lot of money down the road, but they did not increase in value. Is that what you mean? And I'm sorry that she died in poverty with her Avon items only going for a few cents. That's really sad. And I wonder if, like, were they told that, like, these items that you have are going to be worth so much one day, so you better get more items, better have inventory? Yes, she found out that those Avon things don't hold any actual value for sure. Ray is trying to sell his opportunities as if people don't have access to the internet. And it's interesting that this was a topic at his Faith Over Fear Summit. So why is this a free video online? And something I always find interesting with MLM coaches online. So he has 15.7 thousand subscribers, 146 views. I'm not going to talk about views because I also don't get many views. So I'm not one to talk, but it's just interesting with that many subscribers, why it only has that number of views and so few likes. Like if I have 17 views on a video, I will have 14 likes, So I don't understand like the low level of engagement when he has such a high follower count. It just seems interesting. And then this was the only comment. So good and needed. Thank you. Ray said she is amazing. She is well-spoken, she's eloquent, she seems incredibly intelligent, but she could be doing other things. She could be actually making a positive impact somewhere else. Yes, it didn't appreciate like they were promised. I hate that they were told that. That's so predatory. I'm sorry that happened.
Being an avatar,
It's true, but that live in-person connection has become so important. And I know for me personally, over the last almost 9 years of being an entrepreneur, I've never been more affected emotionally than when I'm in the room. And if you don't know, we make decisions out of emotion, right? Like, and when I can get in the room and I can connect with people on a human level, it always takes my business to the next level. Every single time. And there's nothing wrong with virtual events. I speak at a ton of virtual events. I do them myself.
Julie, sorry, my little light is getting in my way. You see 546 likes on this live. There's not that many likes on this live. That's funny. I think maybe there's like a weird YouTube glitch. Yeah, subscribers can be purchased. That's a good point. Good point. Also, the fact that more was online made it more available for people like me who are not good at socializing in the real world. Yes. Yes. I completely agree with you. It's hard to socialize in person. It can be easier if it's virtual. Julie, oh, it's a bug on YouTube now. Really interesting, because that must be confusing. Because it's like she has 23 people here, but 546 likes on this live. That's so strange. And of course, they're telling us we need to get to these events in person because it's just like more genuine human connection. And we make decisions off of emotions. We're emotional beings. We need to feel emotions to be fully engaged and bought into this opportunity. But they do not want us to be at the event for our own personal well-being. They want us there so we stay in for as long as possible. Ray wants us at his event not because it will benefit our business, but because it's going to make him even more money. What is their motive? Julie M. YouTube was claiming 17K for everyone the other day. Really? What? That's outrageous. 17,000 likes on a video is a lot.
But it's not the same. And the results that people get when they're attending virtually as opposed to when they get in the room, it's just 10 times different.
Yeah. And we're also not making any money in MLM because we're sabotaging ourselves, we're letting ourselves feel mom guilt, and we're not in the room, because those who are in the room at an MLM, those who are in the room at an MLM event, they're the ones getting the real events. Oh my God. Those in the room are the ones getting the real results. So if you just get your body in the room, then you will magically, like Daniel Ryan says, through osmosis, become a millionaire just like them. Sorry, I can't talk. I didn't stream for like 9 days, and so now I can't talk.
And I mean, I think one of the biggest things is just changing your environment, in that you don't know if you're going to answer the door because you have to, right when the speaker says the one thing you needed to hear.
Yep.
And if you're in a biblical kind of sense, I've experienced spiritual warfare. I've experienced distractions that were meant to prevent me from doing something that ended up unlocking something in me, or unlocking something for me. And
if you're at an event virtually, the doorbell may ring when there's that one little tidbit that you need to hear that will change your life forever. And that's not just the mailman delivering your mail. That is spiritual warfare getting in the way of your success. That is the devil trying to stop you from achieving your financial goals. So if we don't go to the events in person, we're allowing the devil to stop us, pretty much is what he's saying. And we've heard that in our Amway streams a lot on this channel, where we're told we have to chase our upline around the state because we may hear that one-liner that is going to change our world forever. 25 likes, Marie said. That's amazing. Ooh, 28 likes already. That's awesome. I love that. That is a high amount for me before even ending my live. So that's great.
So like, I just really believe that if you have a big calling, your doorbell is going to ring right at the time you were supposed to hear something.
Oh, yes.
The door's going to go off, right as you're supposed to hear that next speaker. And so breaking away from that environment, being in the atmosphere, I just think is such a big deal. And so if you don't have your tickets yet and you want
breaking away from the environment and being in the atmosphere is such a big deal. You have to have a good amount of money to get to these events in person. There's a significant amount of privilege that comes with that, because if you need to be able to get off work, you need the money to pay for the event, you need the money for airfare or gas or a rental car and food. If you have children that you cannot just bring with you, that will not just sit for 8 hours a day. Some will be able to, which is great. If you can't bring your children with you, you need to pay for childcare. There's no acknowledgement of the amount of privilege that someone needs to have to get there. And if they don't have that financial resources, Raymond Higdon will tell them that they need to just put it on a credit card and they will figure it out later. You're already in debt, but you need to put yourself into even greater debt so you can get to my event, so you can make me more money. And I hate it so much. But don't feel guilty when you leave your kids at home, right? But what if we don't want to leave our kids at home for an entire weekend? What if we don't want to miss soccer? What if we're not willing to sacrifice? Because Brynn said, if something is not, if she will not do things that are not going to help her with her faith, her health, her family, and her business, then she's not going to do it, right? And so what if going to this event is getting in the way of her family time? Is she allowed to say, no, I'm not going to the event? Probably not. She's going to be guilted by her upline. Why am I getting annoyed? I guess the doorbell comment answers the question on what's happening with Ray and his ministry. Right? The doorbell is the devil. It's spiritual warfare. This need to be glued to the conference in case you miss something is one upgrading tactic. What do you mean? I don't understand that word. Sorry. They say the same things over and over. How can you miss anything? They just want to rule your mind. It's so getting when they say you can't move, or it's when they say you can't move or you miss something, they say the same thing over and over. You can't miss anything. It's just okay, I understand. Sorry. Yeah, and you can't move. You can't go to the bathroom. You can't change your kid's diaper if you're at home because you're going to miss that one liner that's going to change your entire life. Why do we need to stay in one spot and not move in order to find value in this event? Why can't we just go in and out and take breaks when we need to? Because if I'm at a work conference, I go to the bathroom when I need to. I leave and take a break when I'm starting to feel restless, and then I come back and I still get value even if I missed a few minutes. Oh, your phone had a glitch. It's okay. I struggled to get through it, but I understood the main point of what you're trying to get at. That's okay. Yeah, FOMO, exactly. You're going to miss the one brilliant thing that's going to change your life. You're going to miss amazing lifelong connections. Ugh.
Want to come see Brynn and all of our other speakers, go to faithoverfearlive.com. Faithoverfearlive.com. We have John Maxwell. I believe, right now, and it's interesting because I see there's a few things, right? Number one, clearing you up from where you are right now, right? Them stepping more into faith, which is the things you don't see, stepping and increasing your leadership, which John Maxwell is going to talk for up to 4 hours on day 3. He's a #1 expert in the world. And so it's going to be incredible. Faithoverfearlive.com, September 7th through 9th in Orlando. And so any last words of encouragement for those on here?
Yeah, I would say get there. Come give me a hug. I'm a total introvert, but I'll take a hug anyways. And I mean, let's just be 100. John Maxwell's going to be there, people. I mean, the opportunity to see him live, my mind is blown. I can't wait. And I can't wait to get to just really, really dig in more on this topic with you guys so you can crush it as a mom and you can crush it in your business at the same time.
Yes. So inspiring for sure. Well, thank you, Brynn. I can't wait to see you. You're amazing. You're awesome. I really appreciate you coming out here. We look forward to seeing those who are able to make it. It's going to be transformational. It's going to be amazing. Thank you, Brynn. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ray. Bye, guys.
So awesome. So congrats on making it to the end of the video. I hope you got massive value from this. Feel free to subscribe. And I would highly suggest that you click that little bell so that you're notified as we upload new and free content. Feel free to share this with someone that you think could benefit from it. And just know that we really, really appreciate you. Feel free to check.
It's so interesting that he was saying congratulations for making it through the video. My bangs are puffy. Congratulations for making it through the video. Why are we congratulated for that? Because we had it on 1.25 speed, but it's a 23-minute video. We shouldn't be congratulated for something that is not going to improve our income, is not going to directly impact our business. Because us sitting here hearing Brynn talk about how we shouldn't feel guilty for working our business, even though she felt guilty for 4 entire years, that's not actually going to help us. Because as I said, we have the ability to decide how we want to parent, to decide what's important to us and what's not. And if it's our own business, then we should be able to say no to things because we want to spend time with our kids, or because we just need a break, because we want to go for a walk. We should not be glued to a conference chair. We should not be glued to a Zoom call if that's not what's important to us. So what do we think about this? And what do we think about their perception of mom guilt? And Yeah, it's so ironic to hear them talk about how to get over mom guilt while the entire industry is predicated on pr- preying on those who experience mom guilt and making it seem like an MLM is the one way that they can be the parent that they want to be, when we know you can be an amazing, brilliant parent and be a great role model for your child without being in an MLM. Why they insist so much for you to come? Think about their end game. It's not about you. It's about how much money they make off you. Exactly. I leave after 1 hour, much less than 4 hours. Yes, up to 4 hours, probably 5 minutes, but up to 4 hours. Do you think they paid Brynn for the talk? Probably not. I feel like they only paid John Maxwell. That was 1.25 speed. Thank you, Heather. I don't think I could have lasted on 1.1 times speed. Yeah, 1.25. And it seemed normal, right? You know, when 1.25 doesn't seem fast at all, that they're talking kind of slowly, right? Trying to click Marie's comment. As usual, nothing actually said that means anything. Exactly. It's so frustrating. But on Tuesday, I'm so excited. I found a video. It looks like a slightly older video. It's an Amway opportunity meeting. I think they're already in Amway. And he's actually telling us tangible things to do to try. Oh, did you hear that weird whistle? I whistled. I didn't mean to try to sponsor people into your business. And then I also found a couple videos on Eric Worre's channel where he's telling us actual tangible tips of how to run a good Zoom call. So I think I'm going to do those coming up here, and the Amway one on Tuesday, and then Eric Worre another day, because it's always interesting to see actual tangible business building tips. But we know even if you follow those business building tips, chances are you're not going to be able to make an actual living in network marketing. So thank you for listening to me blab for 1 hour and 20 minutes. This was actually a longer stream for me. Thank you, DC, for rating my video. That was very, very kind of you. Thank you to everyone for watching and hanging out. This was super fun. I really appreciate it. And I'll see those of you who are free for my next stream on Tuesday. Bye.